Hello, everyone. Julie Barkas here. Welcome to Get Connected with Julie Barkas and Michael Tasner. How's everyone doing today?
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Michael. How are
How's
you?
your week going? Everything's good. The weather has been sensational this summer. My son's out playing baseball again. So, we go from thinking that there's going to be no baseball to 20 games in the last couple of weeks. So,
I know. That's what we thought, too. And my boyfriend umpires. So he was thinking he'd have no games this year. And now he's getting pulled into where it's like, oh, who are you? And so it's back-to-back games now. But yeah, but if you're here tuning in, joining us, say hello. We'd love to hear from you. And we're doing a weekly show. We took a little break last week, but we're here to help you get connected and achieve greater results in your childcare business and in your life. So I'm thrilled to be here with everybody.
Definitely. We've got some really fun content for today. So Julie and I, we've done a couple of different segments in the past. So we're going to do kind of one of the most requested segments where we're kind of taking a movie that we both love and enjoy and looking at how does that movie relate to life? How does it relate to your daily life at your center, your team, your culture, your marketing, anything? And then we also are going to talk about what's trending, what's hot. What are we seeing?
I like that. What's hot?
What's hot?
I like that. It's better than what I was thinking, well, let's give them a swipe file.
There we go. Yeah, it's a swipe file, something that things are, at least from what I'm seeing, things are changing. Fast and furious. Yes. And I think we could talk about some of those things today. And just, I think there's going to be a lot of changes in the coming months with certain schools deciding, are they going to reopen or not? And that got a lot of centers that are kind of keeping an eye on that to then look at pivoting their strategies. So I think that would be a fun one to talk about. And we want to make sure that we're bringing you, again, kind of swipe and deploy stuff, but the stuff that is it's the in stuff now. What is the stuff that you can, and it's not just the marketing stuff, but it's how can you continue to improve your culture? How can you get more free time back in your life? How can you jump out of bed ready to start tackling the day and starting your day with gratitude? Which I've been doing because I bought that book that you suggested a few episodes ago. So,
oh, good. Have you been doing your gratitude journal?
Yeah, I actually bought 100 copies and have been sending them to clients. So
nice. I love it. Yeah, it's a great gratitude book. I still have mine here on my desk. Yeah, I do daily gratitude, and the journal that we're talking about is this one that's available on Amazon, and it's very low cost, and I have nothing to do with it, but I found it one day and I was like, oh, this is really nice. And I've sent it out to clients too, and they're getting into it. And gratitude really changes your culture. I think if there's anything that changes a lack mindset, it's gratitude, because you can't be focusing on how much lack there is in your life if you're focusing on all the different things that you're grateful for. So
yeah, I have found myself, so I leverage the journal in the morning. And that definitely kind of primes me for the day. And I get into that mindset. But then I find if I'm reverting back to something, or if I'm even earlier this afternoon, we were having a couple of fire drills, not physical fire drills, but fires to put out. Well, this is broken, and there's a typo here, or something, something's wrong here. So I start finding myself getting into overwhelm and stressed and ticked off. And I'm take a step back, and the sky's not falling. Things are still going to be fine. You just need to kind of change the way that you're responding and kind of how you're handling it. So,
and I'm pretty sure a lot of our owners who are listening to this can really relate to that feeling, oh, I was going to do that, but then this fire happened, or this emergency broke out, or whatever it is. But that's why I really think it's important to really get your mindset work, your gratitude in your schedule first thing in the morning. And this is why some people adapt the philosophy that you got to get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, so that before anything starts to really surface and to get on your to-do list, you get your gratitudes in and you go through that. And I think it's so important. And today was one of the days where I got up and I got really busy, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, I didn't get my whole morning routine in. So now I kind of feel a little off kilter, because I'm wait, I didn't get to that piece of it. So
definitely. I woke up this morning, the last 2 mornings, and my energy, even though I got 7-8 hours of sleep, and I use this little called the Aura Ring that I use to track my sleep. Really cool.
Wow, that's cool.
It tracks everything, gives you all the data on how you're sleeping, how much REM sleep, how long it'll take. It's pretty crazy stuff, but it's saying you're already prepped for the day, an 85 out of 100, which is a good score. And I'm why am I just physically exhausted. But I found that if I start changing up my morning routine at all, it throws my whole day off.
Yeah.
Like I'm in reactive mode, and then it's like you're trying to catch up. I talked to an owner this morning. We had a strategy call scheduled, and I could tell they weren't focused. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? Like, oh, we had an inspector showed up, and there are 2 in our school right now, and like it just throws your day off a little bit. So
Yeah, and I put on 2 different shoes and whatever it might be. But we know the crisis and the nature of the childcare industry, and you got to start giving to yourself, though. And I think gratitude is just one of those ways. So gratitude does so many different things. And I just want to tell, everybody too, what our expertise is, that Michael really loves the marketing part of childcare, and he is a marketing guru in this industry. And I, on the other hand, love to deal with staff motivation issues and helping you attract the right staff, and even the mindset piece of building your business that totally turns me on. So while we're here doing this show live, if there are any questions that you have, we really want this to serve you. Ask your questions. And if we can't address them on this show, I guarantee you we'll come back and address them on another show. So we really want this to serve you in a big way. And between the 2 of us doing the show, you get a pretty good picture of what your next actionable items are, so that you can really rock the next several days with a solid plan of action.
Definitely. So let's dive in. Let's actually start with some of the trends. Let's start there.
Okay.
And then kind of circle back to kind of a movie or 2 from each of us.
Yeah. We can always do the movie towards the end too.
That's a good idea.
And then we'll have to get into some prize giveaways too.
Yeah, I like
always
that.
Essential line.
Let's do that. Let's do that. So what trend do we want to start with? And when I say what trend, what area of focus do we want to look at? Kind of the business of the childcare industry? Do we want to look at, staffing, culture? Do we want to look at marketing? You tell me, and we'll pick one.
When I'm thinking about trends too, I'm thinking about a couple different things that I've seen, and I've probably posted this in my or on my business page, my childcare business success page. But there's just a couple things that I saw that really caught my attention that I thought were cool ideas that people are doing in other industries, and I thought I would share those as my trends. And these are things again that you could swipe if you like it, deploy it, and run with it. And I think it would work awesome for you. So if you would like, I could start with one of those things.
Please,
yeah, and then we could play off of that. But one of them that I saw is that this group of nurses did this, and I didn't read the full article, but it is posted on my page. It's called the Button Project. And basically, in the day and age where we all have to wear masks, especially if we're working with children, these nurses are putting buttons of their full smiling faces on their clothes. And it doesn't sound like a big complex idea, but isn't it cool that when you see somebody, you could actually look at their whole face, even if it's just on the button? So it's called the Button Project. There's an article about this on my page, and I thought it was the coolest thing for any employers out there, especially you who are working with the children, to let the children see the faces as they look at the person. So I thought that was really cool. And I posted that on my page, and I got so many people liking it, loving it, sharing it, and saying, I'm going to do this. And even if you can't go get physical buttons done, which you could even go to Michael's or craft stores, get buttons, print out pictures on your computer, and boom, you've got buttons done. But you can even do stickers with people's faces on it so that you know what they look like underneath that mask.
Oh, that's as you were talking about, I was just Googling it. I actually haven't heard of that. This is a lot of fun. The Button Project lets children see the faces behind the mask. That's a really fun idea.
It's called the Button Project. And like I said, I posted the link to the article right on my childcare business success page. So it's right there. We'd love to have you go and comment on that one, Michael, but and anybody else. But I thought that was a really cool idea. And some of the coolest ideas, I think, are some of the simplest. And it's the same thing with new staff orientation or anything that's going on. It's like, but even your staff to be able to see each other's smiling faces if they have to wear masks, and you can't get a clear mask or you can't just wear a shield. How awesome would it be to see the smiling face on a button? And I know I love smiles, so.
No, this is great. This is a really fun idea. And I mean, just look at, as Julie said, look at the simplicity of doing that. It's something that's going to cost you thousands of dollars. I mean, it's pennies on the dollar, and it's just those little extra things that separate you from the pack, but it also continues to just kind of help with, from a culture standpoint of your team just, a lot of people are just, they're not, I wouldn't say getting sick of looking at masks. That's the wrong way to phrase it. Like getting sick of, like, they're just like, they're over it.
Yeah.
But I mean, just
I'm so over it.
Yeah,
and when I see people in masks, I'm like, where am I living? You know, what?
Yeah,
where am I?
There's definitely some interesting things that I'm sure you've seen and I've seen. And I was reading an article about a guy that he was walking around to different Walmarts and he had a mask, but it was a mesh one. So like, it literally was like, there was no point to having it because like it didn't keep anything in. But he's like, I'm following all the guidelines that I have a face covering. So I think, yeah, that made the news, and you got, like, I don't know, went viral, kind of crazy stuff. But no,
I still want to get some crazy masks, you know, like a monster mask or just different weird things to wear out. But
this button project, this is a fun idea. I'll put the link shortly on your business page and shoot that over to everyone. That's a fun idea.
Yeah. So check it out. So the button project, I think that's a great trend that these nurses are doing. And it's something that we could all implement into our childcare programs. And I think it's really incredible. So that's one of the ones I have to share. How about you, Michael?
So I guess I'll get a little bit of a heavier one, but I guess the big trend that I'm seeing is what I would like to call hybrid childcare. And it's kind of off our hybrid schooling, hybrid pre-K. And there's a lot of different things that I'm seeing our different centers kind of looking at, analyzing, reacting to, trying to be proactive on. So I guess it's a bigger thing. And it depends on where you're located and kind of what the school districts are also doing. However, when I'm saying hybrid childcare, hybrid pre-K, I'm starting to see this rapid trend of how quick can we do something online. So I know that Julie and I talked months ago when we were kind of talking about, and I gave the example of kind of doing online preschool and what some of the different centers that we were working with, what were we seeing, how are they putting out the content, how are they doing it? And that wasn't just you send a 2-minute video each day and say, here you go. Like, it was having your curriculum online. Mm-hmm. And then also looking at even having supporting curriculum mailed to them physically. Yeah. Where they're literally getting a box in the mail every month with, books and activities and supplies and everything, delivered to their house. Yeah. And I will tell you that I'm seeing and having more centers than we ever have asking about this, like Michael and team, not really me, but asking our team, what do we do here? Like, how do we... And it's not just planning for the what ifs. Like, there's obviously a lot of people that are still nervous. What if COVID comes back? And like, do we go through this all over again? So that's part of it. But I think the bigger piece, it really is, how can we attract those families that they're open to sending their kids back, but they don't want to do 5 days. They want to do maybe 2 days. And they don't want to then miss the other 3 days. They want to make sure their kids are getting some schooling and some curriculum. So could they have that hybrid option, which from what I'm seeing, most schools are going to be offering, where they're not going to, living in Buffalo, New York, for example, and my wife was texting me this morning about it, listening to all the Zooms, like the restrictions of kids going back to, elementary school and things like that, kindergarten, it's the list here at the very least is insane. And I think it's going to be quite tough to execute that. So there goes my camera already. So I realized, I think it's actually like that the camera overheats and then I think it like shuts off.
It shuts itself down.
Yeah,
so maybe you have too powerful of one, or maybe you have too magnetic of a person.
Yeah, I guess so. Let me get add that to my list to troubleshoot. But right. So it's just looking at how can they be proactive. So there's a lot of centers that we're seeing that they're starting to give the online curriculum to everyone that's currently there. Like, a lot of centers were doing it and then they stopped. I'm seeing that trend reverting back to, Michael, how can we get stuff on Google Classroom, like actually getting full-blown online preschools set up. So that, again, it's planning, not necessarily just planning for the what ifs, but being able to offer that as an additional option. to families, and just to say, hey, I mean, if you don't feel comfortable for a day or two a week, or whatever you need, we have it for you.
Yeah. And so when it comes to trends with this, and we have clients who are going through the same thing, and they're actually surveying parents to say, do you want school the way it was? Do you want a hybrid model, or do you want just the virtual model? So a lot of different schools are surveying their parents to find out what it is that they want. But I'm thinking a trend's going to be is bigger companies and curriculum companies, and I want everybody to watch them. And maybe this is even an opportunity for you if you're watching and you've got a really great idea for a curriculum. I could see some companies popping up with curriculums in the box that you could just order and supply to your parents, so that each individual school doesn't have to supply these, where you can go and order them.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I'm waiting for those to be popping up like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a couple of centers that we're working with that have started offering that, where they're basically, I guess, reselling other curriculums. But I think there could be a really interesting opportunity for someone that has an educational background. I know there's a couple of centers that we work with that they kind of have their own curriculum, and they're not licensing anything, and they just kind of develop their own. Like, there's some interesting things that if you have a curriculum that can translate well online, I think it's going to be a really, really interesting opportunity. Because if you think about it, if you are used to only, let's say you've got one location, if you're only used to servicing that 10-mile radius, the 8-mile radius, whatever that radius is around you, why could you only have to serve that radius? Why couldn't a family that's out of state that likes your curriculum, maybe it's Montessori driven or faith-based or play center or whatever that is, that why wouldn't they be willing to pay $100 a week or $200 a week or whatever it is to be able to be engaged with you and have that opportunity?
Yeah, I agree. And if you're tuning in, let us know. What are you doing? Are you doing a hybrid? Are you doing virtual? Are you doing one or the other? So let us know what you are thinking about at your childcare program or at your school. We'd love to hear from you. But it's a big thing, and I know that there's going to be an added expense too, like of all these different childcare programs creating their own and then coming up with people to implement these curriculums. So I know it's like a whole big thing to figure out. But I do think that just as now might feel like a time where we're being restricted, it's also a great time for growth, and it's also a great time for opportunity. I know Michael and I always think that way, like, oh, this is going on. Well, what's the opportunity here? And I think that there's a big opportunity. You could even develop just one thing and put it online and start selling it to parents. And I have two friends who do some little programs they have like just a one kind of, well, actually one, it's pretty much her whole business. She does wealth camps for children, and that's like her whole business. So she makes it part of the childcare program's curriculum, and her name is Melanie J. Nichols. And then Harriet Meyerson is somebody else who's knee deep into staff motivation, morale issues, and she developed a guide for developing teens into amazing adults. And she said that is like her hottest selling program still to this day. And even people in China are ordering this program, and it's just like so widespread. But it's an opportunity that if you feel that there's something that you have that would contribute to our world and what it's going through, it's like create it and use it as an additional revenue source for you.
I'm going to try the screen share for a second and show something that's kind of interesting. So one of my, see how this works. So tab. All right. Are you able to see that okay?
That was good. Smooth
Perfect.
transition.
All right. So I typed in homeschooling. And I looked at, so if you look at just the last 90 days, look at this massive jump where the interest is basically 3 or 4x from where it was 90 days ago. So if you start to look at, you start to see certain jumps. So this is a 5-year map. So this is where we are now. This is where we were 5 years ago. So it's 2x from the height. So if you know that this is going to potentially start to occur, this is what families are searching for, because stop screen sharing, go back here, go back to this, that they are searching for those kinds of options. Why not be the option for them. If you know that that's what they're searching for, if they're starting to type in hybrid school and it's just starting to look at expanding, because if you know that it's already happening as we speak. There are some states that are supposed to be going, like they would be going back to school in the next couple of weeks, that they're, going to either full virtual or hybrid. You've got to look at, what can you do? What can you do to help solve that need and make a difference and generate some revenue for you as well?
And I think the cool thing is that even if your childcare program is 100% capacity, you've got everybody in there who you could possibly want. It's a whole additional revenue source for you to create something if you've got the capacity to do so. And if you feel the calling inside of your heart. And I'm a big believer in being aligned with your vision whenever you implement your business model and reverse engineering your business model. But really be looking and thinking, is this a direction I want to go in? And is there something I'd like to offer here? So
definitely.
It is still the time of opportunity, and even more so than what we had before.
Definitely. And even this is, I guess, a little bit aligned with the trend that we just talked about of hybrid school, but and I don't want to butcher your name, is Chelyn. How would you pronounce that?
Shaylin.
Got it. Thank you.
Shaylin.
So Shaylin commented, she commented to be the solution, which I love. Kind of goes my camera again, so it's going to be one of those fun afternoons. But
Michael, this is being so magnetic. You're trying to shortchanging your camera there.
We'll get that figured out. I should turn back on in just a second here.
All right.
So you mentioned they're open as a childcare center, but we're waiting to support school-age children. So that's the other. I guess might as well continue on with that one since I mentioned it. But that's the other huge trend. We've had 20, 30, 40 centers say, how can we start a marketing campaign for either after school programs that we've never offered before to give parents a break after school, parents can, if they were working, they can't just magically stop and educate their kids it's not easy. So it's looking at how can you start to offer that? What do you have to pivot? What kind of curriculum, how are you going to accomplish that? But to Julie's point, it's definitely a trend and an opportunity, but you want to make sure that it's aligned with your vision. Like if you just love working with infants and toddlers and working with, 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with all that crazy energy. Just because it's an opportunity doesn't mean you need to pounce on it. That's why we want to bring you the trends of what are we seeing, what's happening as we speak. That is definitely another huge trend that we've probably fielded a minimum 20 or 30 centers that have asked us in the last couple of weeks. How do we get a marketing campaign for that? Because schools have put out kind of what they're doing. We've got some centers that are launching a kindergarten program now because kindergarten is essentially online or canceled. So if that's something that you think you could fit into not only your vision, but you can make happen, now is definitely the time. There's not going to be a better time than today.
Then right now, and that's true. And that's a good another trend. Would you like me to share another one?
Please, yeah. Sorry,
everyone is lighthearted again. But here's another trend that I saw, and in the future I'm going to have some pictures that I could show up, or we'll do some screen share with some pictures to make sure that you get the full effect here. But this one is, how we have a lot of the trends, Michael, where people are doing the drive-by birthday parties or the parades for graduations and those kind of things. There was something really cool that I saw somebody doing where they went to a Facebook group and told their whole community, hey, if anybody's doing a parade or if anybody's doing any kind of celebration where it is a drive-by celebration or you're doing a parade, let me know, because we have a mascot here at our company and we would love to have our mascot be in your parade. So it's an opportunity to go to some of your Facebook groups. We'll see if Michael comes back.
Yeah, I can hear
everything. Here? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear everything. It just for some reason turns the camera off. So I have my assistant grabbing my webcam just in case.
There you are. Okay. So you can go to these Facebook groups, and they're just community Facebook groups. And if you have a mascot, and if not, you could easily go get a suit, and have a mascot with your childcare program's name on it, and you can participate in these parades as the character of whatever it is, whether it's a spaceship like one of my clients or something, or an astronaut, whatever it might be, but you could be in the parades showing your face. So it was just kind of a really cool thing that I saw in one of our community Facebook groups. And I believe this one was, I think it was by one of the person who owns Culver's or manages Culver's. They're like, we've got a mascot. If you're doing a parade, let us know. We will come and bring some goodies and be in that parade to honor whatever it is that's going on. So
that's a fun branding opportunity for them as well. So that's a really cool idea. I like that a lot.
So do you come across clients who have mascots?
I'm as you were saying that, I was trying to think, like I maybe one or two, but I don't think I have too many clients that have mascots. I mean, I think a lot of them have mascot type names, but I'm trying to think if I've ever seen any of them. But
what a cool thing, and I think it's cool for enrollment too. And I've had clients who do have mascots, or they didn't have one, but we talked about it, then they got one. And even when they were doing an open house, and now even when it's a virtual open house, it doesn't matter, but you could stand outside of your building or at the corner and have a suit and wave at people and hand out flyers. I mean, you're already masked, right? And you're already in gloves. So make sure that you get your mascot suit and stand at the busiest corner you can by your school and wave to people, hand out flyers, whatever it might be, or little goodie bags. And people remember things like that. And I never forget, I took a video of it once, but during tax time here, there's I think it's Liberty Tax or something.
Yeah.
And they stand, have you seen them?
Yeah, they stand outside like this. They've got what is their mascot? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I believe the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
They stand out there and they're just dancing as the Statue of Liberty, but it's getting people's attention. And I don't know why, but I always wave at mascots. I don't know if it's because I feel sorry for them. It's a hot day, but I'm like, woohoo, hello. Or the people on the corner of the mattress stores, and they're like dressed as a big mattress, and they're just there with their arms and legs sticking out, and they're just this big mattress. But it just is something different to look at. It's something different to see, and it might even be something that people put on video. And if it's really cool, I mean, it could even be passed around to a lot of people.
No, that's a really fun idea.
Yeah. Like so be the mascot for your vision, and it doesn't take much to get somebody to put on that suit and walk around somewhere.
Oh, and these are guerrilla marketing type of ideas. I mean, they're not even just marketing. I mean, think about what it does with morale at your team and morale with the families and morale with the kid. Like it just the energy, and now is the perfect time to be different. And just thinking differently, acting differently, kind of just doing some of these fun things that you're like, someday. Yeah. That's probably one of my top 5 least favorite words is the word someday. Yeah, because it just I call myself out on it. And if I've done that, because I often will say, and I hate to sound negative with it, but I usually say someday never comes. Like if you're like, oh, someday I'll look at buying another center.
Well, and then you go to your calendar and say, well, let me check the calendar and see what day someday falls on. It's not a day of the week, that's for sure.
Exactly. No, it's a great way to look at it. And it's like, I hear that often. And like when I'm doing my strategy calls or demos and things like that with the center that we're not working with, and maybe someday I'll do this. And so, what are you waiting for? Like, you're waiting for, a gold-plated invitation to come to your door. Like, it's now is the action taking time.
Right.
Now is the time to really push your vision ahead, to be strong and be that leader and visionary for your team, for your families, for your center, for your personal family. It's seeing a lot of really good things. Like I'm seeing a lot of good in the childcare community for sure. And a lot of these centers just stepping up and just doing a lot of really amazing things.
Well, that's totally what I've loved to see, is that so many people are playing a much bigger game. And we could have preached till we were blue in the face, like do this and do story time on camera. And, but now it's like the norm. Like everybody was doing story time on camera. So everybody's playing a bigger game, which requires you, if you're really going to achieve the level of success you want, to step up and to play a bigger game. And if it scares you, it's probably something that you should be doing. If it's something that you're resisting, it's probably something that will be good for your growth. So really be looking at, how do I play a bigger game? So if you like public speaking, time to get yourself on live video, or get plugged into some virtual Chamber of Commerce events that are happening as a speaker.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the time is now.
The time is now. That's good. I love that. All right. So if you're tuning in, remember, we're here Wednesdays at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we'd love to hear your comments, your feedback, your thoughts. And like Michael said, we're going to get into some general segments, and we're going to be providing you with some marketing tips, some staff motivation tips, some vision tips, mindset tips, and also just giving you an idea of what's going on in the world out there that might be something that would be really cool for you to implement. So, and then also I think we're going to be doing our little movie deal, because we both love movies, study movies, and think about movies and how they really apply to what it is that we like to teach.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll throw a marketing trend, and it's not something that's, I would say, new, but it's something that I'm seeing there goes my camera again. Sorry, everyone. At least you can hear me. So,
right.
Get this brand new fancy camera, and I guess I barely know how it works. So it seems to work for a couple of minutes, and then it goes out on me.
It's gone.
It's gone. Just goes into oblivion. So it's exactly this. It's video. So we used to say, when we're running ads and running creative, that video would be great. However, as long as you have X, so as long as we have a nice looking, does my audio sound okay, by the way?
Yep, your audio's good.
It's the Yeti microphone's like way over there, but it's a good microphone.
Yep, I've got the Yeti here too.
Yeah,
the silver one or the black one?
This is the silver one. So I think it's called the Blue Yeti, but it's silver. Yeah, same one, same exact, literally.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Yes, I'm looking right at it. It says blue, so clearly I haven't had my afternoon coffee today. But it's connecting through video. It's almost now a requirement.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. So parents are still nervous. They're still scared. They're like, should I send my kids? Is this going to work? There are all these questions, like more objections than they've ever had before. It's not the money or the price objection. It's not the issue curriculum. Tell me about the safety, the security, are my kids going to be safe, etc. But it's taking a step back and saying, how can you connect like this? Especially if you're having to do digital tours, which obviously has been a growing trend, virtual tours, whether you're doing it live on Zoom, on GoToMeeting. I see some centers walking around with their iPhone, and I listened to attended a couple of those just to kind of see how our center directors are doing them. And I'm like watching ones like their cameras moving. I think I had to take like a dizzy pill by the time one was they're like, here's this. And like, oh my gosh, it's like a ship. Oh, I'm going to change my camera in just a second. Sorry, everyone. I will.
In the meantime, enjoy the view of my flowers back there.
They're nice. They're nice.
Right. But it's true with video. And I think some of the trends too that I would love to think about or to talk about a little bit too, is even our appearance on camera. There's so many people who are coming on camera, and it used to be kind of like, once in a while you see people coming on camera as they are, but now, you're seeing a lot of people coming on camera as they are, whether it's workout clothes or pajamas or whatever it might be. So, the trend too that we're seeing is people not coming on camera with hair and makeup done and everything all fancy smancy. It's them just coming, being authentic, being real.
I always used to wear, button downs when I was on camera, or polo. Like it's not the appearance. It's who you are as a person. What is the message you're trying to convey? And so the reason that I wasn't able to join last week, I just became, as of late Thursday evening, a certified story brand guide. So spent an insane amount of money to go through their framework. Shaylin says Julie loves her flowers. She does indeed.
Shaylin, you know me, darling.
Yeah. So it's this whole getting back to stories, and like that's the stuff that's going to connect with these families of, I mean, how are you kind of changing with the times? Why did you get into doing what you're doing? What is the impact that you're making? Like there's so many amazing things about pretty much every center that I've talked to that you're not talking about. So I talked to a potential center that we're going to look at working with this morning, and she was like, the average age or average tenure of our teachers is like 28 years. And she was in her early 30s. So she's kind of, I guess, the business person behind it. But she's like, I am looking to open 2 or 3 more locations, but I want like teachers that have been doing this for 20, 30 years. And like, so where's that on your website that your teachers have been doing this for 20 years and that you're not using, I mean, really young people? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if a family is going to resonate with someone that's been doing this for quite some time. So it's just getting back to that storytelling aspect, but doing it through video, because it's just, instead of you putting a little Facebook post that says, now enrolling, we're welcoming families back, do a video. I mean, hey, we've missed you. This is, again, what we're doing to keep you and your children safe. I mean, I have 4 kids myself. I mean, this is what I'm doing at home. Like, what are you doing there from a video perspective to just convey that message? Because it's so easy to scroll past text and images and things like that. But what are you doing from a connection standpoint and trying to do that? So that's kind of the marketing trend. While we used to always say video would be great, we're now making it a requirement for our Facebook ads, for YouTube ads, Instagram, Pinterest, like, because there's just too many people that are putting up the same kind of ad now, that welcoming families back, trying to keep you safe. So if everyone's using the same messaging, we can stand out by either a completely different message, a completely different offer, or we stand out through video, because most people don't like to do video. They think it's scary, but literally it's using your iPhone and a little tripod and a $15 microphone, and you have your own little mini video. I mean, the iPhone shoots 4K video, 4K. Yes. You don't need to go buy the fancy camera that I have or any of that stuff, because you're not going to be doing a couple hours a week of Facebook Lives.
Right.
You're doing 5, 6, 7, 8 short videos.
Yes. You know, and even my droid does a really good job with videos. I walked around my pond out back and did some videos on staff motivation and different things. And you'll see some of those on my website, but it's like, you know, catch me as I am and connect with me. If you love flowers, you know, I do too. Let's talk. Right. But it's true, you know, and it's even time, you know, show your teachers sanitizing, show your teachers walking to the door and getting the child, whatever it is, show off your program. And I remember when I was writing the best-selling childcare business success book, and I interviewed the founders of Hildebrandt Learning Centers, you know, he was talking about the mistake that he felt a lot of owners were making, and that was not showing off the inner workings of your childcare program enough, not raving about the things that you're really excited about enough. And I don't care if the thing that you're raving about is the cement frog statue that's in the front of your program. Rave about it and talk about the story of the frog or why the frog is so important. And it's going to make you stand out in people's minds. So I'm all about story. I'm all about video. And I know when I was first doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, really? And some of the early videos, when I look back, I'm not sure about you, Michael, but some of the early videos I did, it's kind of like you saw this area between my chin and my eyes. You know, it was like, all right, I got to learn how to like get this thing in the right spot. But it's the message. And the biggest thing that I learned with video too, you know, just look at the camera like you're talking to one person, and that eye contact and that impact is going to be more beneficial than anything that you do.
Oh, definitely. And it's the Nike saying, I mean, of just do it. I mean, you've got to stop saying that phrase I mentioned earlier of someday. Well, someday we'll do a little video for a center.
Yes.
You don't need to overcomplicate this stuff. And I find, I mean, as a marketing person myself, I'll often catch myself doing this exact same thing. Well, I don't like the shirt that I have today, or my hair doesn't look like my hair.
Ask if you're worried about those things.
Yeah, and so it's, I mean, I'm worried about the appearance. I'm like, well, the lighting is a little off today, and then I'll just wait till tomorrow. But then you're busy tomorrow. And then something else, like then it just that the things that you need to be doing, the things that you should be doing. And again, the reason that we wanted to start bringing you trends was that, I mean, both Julie and I are seeing a lot of things changing quickly. Like I know I'm going to let you talk for a second while I go across the room and grab my other microphone, but
Okay.
there definitely just is a lot of change occurring as we speak.
Yeah, and I agree, and we were talking earlier about your vision and plugging into that and really knowing, like, is this something that I'm aligned with? And if there's something that you feel is tugging at your heart that you need to do, whether it's something you don't want to do, but it's tugging at you, like video, like, oh, I should do one, I should do one, I should do one. That's there for a reason. So I really encourage you, just get out your camera, even right after this show, and just take inspired action and do a video, whether you do it live or record a video, just do one so that you could go, I did it. And mindset wise, when you're hanging on to things inside of your head that it's like, oh, I know I should be doing it. I know I should be doing it, but I'm not doing it. It really creates a holding pattern for the abundance that you want to create in your life. So it really causes you to be stuck. So when you keep having these thoughts over and over and over and over again, I should be doing this, I should be doing this, I want to do this, and you're resisting them, and every single day you're resisting, you're putting them off, you're going to create a barrier to the ultimate success that you can achieve. So I really encourage you to take note of all the things that are tugging at your heart, the things that are saying, oh yeah, I really should be doing this, and write it down, put it in your planner, schedule it out, or better yet, take immediate inspired action and get it done.
Love that phrase, inspired action.
Inspired action. Yeah, I forgot where I first heard that, but I'm like, oh, it just popped into my head. And there's another word Michael said. I don't know if he remembers it, but he said this word earlier when we were talking about someday, but he said fun. Make it fun. Whatever you're doing, the more fun you're having with any task, even if it's working through a situation with a difficult parent, you could still have fun. I'm not talking about teasing, make fun of them fun because they're being so whatever, but just be lighthearted about what you do. And it's going to attract more and more and more and more to you once you could stay in that energetic zone.
That's a great point.
That's all I got.
But this one is not nearly as flattering as the other one. So
yeah, I got the 922, I believe.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the other camera.
I know. But you still look good. You're here. Now you're glowing a little bit.
There we go.
So, and we want to tackle your marketing, your mindset, your motivation issues. So if there's any questions, please feel free to post them for us. And if we can't address them on this show, we definitely will come back and address them on a future show. But Michael, should we move into giving them just a few things that you're feeling really hot about this week in terms of marketing? And I could do the same thing with either mindset or motivation.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And then we'll try and get to a movie or two if we have some time today.
Ooh, yes.
So I talked about video being one of the biggest ones. The other one that I'm seeing is getting creative with longer offers. And what I mean by that is, so traditionally we offered things like get 2 weeks free, get a week free, 10% off. A lot of different types. There's all different kinds of offers. Okay. So we used to do those, and they're usually, shorter term to kind of attract and get some things rolling. What we're finding has actually been working quite well, has been similar offers, but things like enroll now, commit to the next 10 months, and we're going to give you a month or two even free summer camp, for example. You might be thinking, well, geez, that summer camp, it's like a big revenue generator for us. Well, I would challenge you and say, well, how did it do this year? It's probably not so great. So if you were able to get that money to be committed, you're able to better plan the next 10 months from a financial standpoint, from a growth standpoint, rather than having to worry about the ebbs and flows. And that's not to say that even if they commit, they're going to be staying, but at least you have some contractual obligations in place. So it's a little bit easier to plan. So we've been doing a lot more with longer term offers rather than being so short-sighted. So that is one of the big things that we've been changing. We used to only do that closer to summer camp time, where we would start putting some stuff in maybe April, May, June. And I mean, if you commit to next year, we're going to give you a month or a week or something like that of free summer camp. We're actually using that now because there's already families that are thinking ahead a lot further.
Yeah. And I think that's a great idea. And yeah, I've seen many of our clients do things like that, even before these times, before COVID times. And it's just a nice little burst in revenue too, especially if you get programs or excuse me, families who could prepay for that 10-month period.
Definitely. I mean, and there's a lot of places are getting, great deposits and things like that. So there's definitely a lot of good. The other thing that we're seeing is just a lot more flexibility. So from a marketing standpoint, where the centers that we used to work with were a little bit more, what's the word, maybe strict, or just a little bit more stingent on either drop-off times, pickup times. They're kind of relaxing some of those things to just look at how can they better accommodate the families. And then that kind of resonating through in their marketing messages of not saying, well, we used to do this and now we do this, but rather we're using a lot more words like convenient, pick up and drop off. Oops, I hit the wrong button. So there goes the camera again. Apparently if you hit the space bar, it turns
on. And it's funny that we're talking about live videos and all that, and then your camera keeps going.
Yeah.
See, it happens, everyone. It happens. And if your camera goes out while you're talking, it's okay. Keep talking.
Definitely. I've seen people drop their cameras when they're talking. I mean, it's I don't know. It's the whole thing of it being live and not scripted. So
right.
If something is perfectly, you could tell when something is shown as live, that's not live. Like it's never flawless. There's always a lawnmower in someone's background or noise, or your kids come in. Yeah, Julie's, or my camera break in or something. There's always something going on.
Yeah, and I did one once. I was doing a live, and all of a sudden my cat just totally jumped up from the floor to the back of my chair. So it's like, all right.
Little cat.
Very interesting. I think my manager grabbed that and she put it on Instagram or something. She's like, "You're Julie doing her video."
But it's just looking at how can you better support the families that you're working with. You're going through a lot right now. They're going through a lot. Can you bend a little bit? Can you be a little bit more flexible? Is there something, a lot of centers that never used to have anything in the morning for the parents now have coffee stations and good coffee state, like just those little things. And I know we have, I think it's someone that you work with that offers they make fresh muffins every day, for example. I think
you like muffins.
I do. I love them. I had one this morning.
Because we'll always remember that example.
I'll never forget that one. But I had a couple of centers are like, oh, we started doing a little coffee station because it's the little things, but those little things we then have them give us that go in their marketing message.
Yes.
Because it's not come here because we have free coffee. It's here to serve you. And if a fresh cup of coffee can help you kickstart your day, even if you're literally getting the coffee and then going back home because you work from home, doesn't matter. It's just those little things that you can do to help.
Yeah. And think about your building too. Do you have an animal that comes and hangs out, or a red cardinal that visits every single day? And right now I almost want to turn my camera around. I think he might have went down to fish, but I live right on a pond here. So right outside my window is the pond, and this big, huge, I forgot the bird's called, but those big long legs, it's not a flamingo, but they're here fishing in the pond, and it just walked right across right here. So
oh, wow.
I was like, hello. But you could take those things and build them into your story and allow people to connect. And I remember one time I was talking to a marketing guru friend of mine, and she said that she animal kind of pattern pumps. And she put that on her website, that she loved animal pattern pumps. And she says, wouldn't you know it, the next thing you know, she's getting clients. And they said, the reason that I wanted to pick up the phone and talk to you is because we like the same kind of shoes. So, who knew? But people are looking and really actively searching for, how can I connect with somebody else? So I think that's really important. So maybe I'll talk about motivation.
Yeah, please. Sorry, I was
Or
typing.
should I talk about mindset?
Yeah, I was replying to someone who just said, love the idea of offering something free and fun in the morning. So I like it. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear, I'll post a little comment on here. My keyboard's real loud, so I mute my line so you don't hear this. Switch to a new keyboard, but it's like this. It's like an expensive Logitech, but I feel like it's like a keyboard that I used to use like 10 years ago. Like it's really loud. And my staff, like I was on the team meeting earlier and they're like, what is that noise that you have? I'm like, oh, I'm like, someone around the corner has a typewriter. I got to go talk to her. But yeah, I'll post I'd love to hear from our centers and people that are listening. Is there anything little special or fun that you do in the morning? I've seen all sorts of things. And it doesn't even have to be the morning. I've seen one center, they have a popcorn machine in the lobby and they're making fresh popcorn and they're doing something now to kind of keep an eye on the sanitary stuff, but they're probably one person making it and putting it in baggies for you to take some on the way to go. Like just it's the little simple things that are appreciated, but they're just fun. They're just fun. And looking at it for your stats, I know you're going to do one on motivations. Maybe we'll end with that one and then do a quote. There's a lot of things that you want to make sure that your team is. I'll let you handle the staff one, but I get nervous when centers like, well, what else can we do for the team? And they don't have any ideas. It's just, for me personally, it's the little things. And I'll give an example or two, and then I'll let you throw some ideas.
Okay.
So I usually once a month, I'll pick someone on my team and I'll say, here's my corporate credit card, buy yourself and your spouse dinner, for example, wherever you want to go. Like, don't worry about the price. I mean, don't spend $2,000, but I mean, buy a nice, whatever, $150, $200 dinner. And it just, tell me about it. Send me a picture, like just those little kind of things. Since we're virtual and remote, I mean, we'll send the team, $5 Tim Hortons gift cards or Starbucks cards and say, grab a coffee and us this morning. Let's have just a quick chat. Like it's the little things. Starting actually this Friday, we're doing half day Fridays. And while I know this wouldn't necessarily be perfect for centers, I mean, it's something that we've been doing where I'm saying take a half day Friday in August and just enjoy the paid time for the afternoon and just go and enjoy it. But we put a kind of a contest around it. And we said, if we hit X milestone, and it wasn't a financial milestone, it was a kind of a process milestone, that then for the month of August, and we're giving them this Friday also, if they hit a milestone, I think before 5 today, so we'll see what happens, then take this. So then you get just those little things we're finding are going a long way.
Yeah. And you were talking about parents, and I think that's a great idea. Here, take my credit card, go, buy yourself lunch. But I think also with parents, you were talking about something fun in the morning. And my chiropractor is always doing these like crazy, innovative, fun things. The other day I got an adjustment, right? And if that wasn't enough, he's like, oh, here's some bubbles for you to take home and blow. I'm like, okay, cool. So he gave me this little tube of bubbles, but he's always doing that along with his like, tell your family and friends about us, and he'll give you like 5 cards. You get an adjustment, but I tell you, you're getting off that adjustment table with his marketing materials in your hands for you to distribute to everybody else. So he is very bold about making sure that you are referring, making sure, and he's giving you, bubbles. He gives Father's Day stuff. He gives whatever it might be, flowers for the ladies. So I agree with the little ideas, and there's so many of them that you can implement. But when it comes to motivation, there's a lot of things that you could do. But to me, nothing is so heartwarming as even just having a stack of thank you cards on your desk and thinking about genuine and authentic reasons as to why you're thankful and grateful. Since we started with gratitude, maybe it's a good place to wrap up the show. But thinking about why you're really grateful for each one of your team members, and you can even keep a staff list with you. So as you think about different ideas for each team member, write them down and then write out a handwritten thank you note and give it to that person before the week is up. And I guarantee you that people keep handwritten notes. And often I go into, when I do my keynote presentations, I ask people, how many of you have gotten a handwritten note? And most all hands go up, and I say, how many of you have kept that handwritten thank you note? And most hands go up. And I said, how many of you can remember the person who wrote that note to you? And most all the hands will go up. So to me, it's a very powerful thing when you write something that's really heartfelt to say, you know what, I am just so grateful and thankful that you showed up this week and that you contributed to our vision getting stronger and more impactful. And I'm just really in a place of gratitude. And I wanted to let you know how much you're appreciated.
Love it. No, that's great. That's great. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah, so go get some thank you notes and write some out. I've got lots of ideas around those babies, but I really like to do things that not just are surfacey or not just Band-Aid solutions, but things that really transform your workplace. And gratitude not only transforms your life, but it transforms everybody around you, especially when you express it.
I love it. I think that is, I know we're already at the top of the hour today. So I think we're going to have to save the movie stuff for next week.
Oh, yeah. We'll do
but we gave a lot of really good stuff, a lot of great trends. I mean, this was, I enjoyed today. And my action item that I'm taking out of this also, I get action items out of all these, just in talking with you. And so mine for today is I'm going to go buy some really nice thank you cards. I have not written a handwritten thank you note in 5 years, maybe not 5 years, probably a couple of years, but I definitely don't do that. So I'm gonna go find some nice greeting card. I don't know, find like a real nice card stock and buy some nice pens and get her done. I like it.
Yeah, and I love the gel pens. They make my writing look nicer. But I think there was so much that we covered on this show, and I agree. We'll save the movies till next time. But your marketing ideas are always incredible. And, not even just your marketing ideas. You've got lots of fantastic ideas regarding visioning and regarding staff. And one of the things that I love that you talked about was just one of the ideas that you gave a minute ago was about really half day in August, where if we reach a certain milestone, you're going to get, I believe you said, a half day off in the month. And I think that was a fantastic idea. And also the videos, just really your encouragement around getting people to do those lives. Fantastic.
Oh, and I loved the simple, fun trends that you talked about, the buttons.
Oh.
That's really fun. I'm gonna make one for myself. Like it's a talking piece. It's something that just it makes you stand out.
Ask me why I'm smiling under this.
I'm going to attract some of the wrong attention. But,
right.
Yeah, ask me. No, that's fun. I remember I used to, way back when, this was, I don't even know, maybe not 10 years, but 5 to 10 years. There was a guy that was selling video name badges, and they were the corniest thing, but like it was like you put it on like a video name. There was a little video of you, but the technology was so bad at the time. But I put one on, and people were like staring at it, but it was definitely unique.
So at the time you didn't have to talk; you just pushed a button. It was a video.
Yeah, like it, exactly. It was definitely different.
Oh, I love it.
Do you have? Let's do. Grab your quote, and while you're finding a quote for us, if anyone needs any help from Julie or myself, Julie's website is childcarebusinesssuccess.com. And she's got a lot of great freebies. She's got a couple of great courses and things like that. So she's got the drive method. I know that she's talked about quite a bit.
Oh, good memory.
And then also happychildcareteam.com is Julie's line of always essential gear. So make sure you go and check that out. I'm going to throw those URLs in here.
Awesome. And I'm searching for my quote. I should learn to have this.
You're fine. And then if you need anything from my side, again, we are the marketing agency for childcare businesses, revenue growth engine. Our website is localchildcaremarketing.com. You can schedule what we like to call an enrollment acceleration call right on the homepage. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. We will be back here next week at 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Eastern. And Julie, if you want to give us a quote.
All right. And I'm not sure if I've shared this one before, and there were several different quotes that I was thinking about. Actually, I'm not gonna share one from the Childcare Business Success book. Yesterday, I was on a call with my owners, and we were talking about staff behaviors, and we were talking about this process to really transform behaviors. And one of the things that I made a point of telling our folks is a quote from the book. It's called gosh, what's the name? The Roads Less Traveled.
Yeah. I remember seeing you post that.
Have you heard that?
I haven't. Yeah, I've seen the book.
Yeah. So it was one of the early books that really transformed my life, that started my transformational journey way back when I was going through my divorce. And it was a very difficult situation. And I was thinking about, do I stay? Do I go? Does he stay? I was really contemplating that. And a lot of times we do that with staff too. Do I keep them? Do I let them go? Are they going to change? Can I coach them? What do I need to do? And there was a quote in this book that always stood out in my mind. I was like, it's simple, but it is so brilliant. So I encourage you to remember it. And the quote simply states, love is as love does. So if you're in an organization where you love your staff and they say, I love you, I love my job, and then you sit back and you scratch your head and go, okay, but if they're so much in love with everything here and their jobs, then why are they not doing this, and this, and this, and this, and this? So look for people and know that you are absolutely 100% worthy of attracting the people to you who absolutely love your vision, staff and clients. And remember, in your life, love is as love does.
What a great place to end. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, like it, share it, comment. We are here to help you help continue to transform your childcare business. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you back here next week.
See you next week.